NFL action, somebody that I think Rob and I talked about this earlier this week. I said, man, Martin, there's somebody that I feel like up and prior to this last game, I was like, man, we got really talking about that is the Bills, because everybody was, what's wrong with the Chiefs, or obviously the Cowboys this, or the Avengers are hurt. Sure. And I was like, man, the Buffalo Bills are kind of just going quietly. And what's wrong with Lamar? At that point, the Ravens had lost. We're like, what's going on with the Ravens? And Josh Allen and the Bills were just kind of quietly taking care of business, quietly getting the job done, and now here they are looking really good, and him looking like a strong MVP candidate for sure. He has something to say about Lamar. Speaking of MVP, the reigning MVP, Lamar Jackson, I want you to hear what he had to say.
He's really changed the way that I think guys play the game, but make no mistake about it, he can throw the snot out of the football, and got a lot of respect for him, a lot of love for him, love watching him play, because every play is never dead with him.
There's a lot to unpack there to me. He said he's really changed the way you play the game. And one of the things, as we know, and this is applicable to life, if you're a hip-hop fan and you may love Kendrick now, well, you got to understand what Rakim did, what Big Daddy Kane did to kind of change the game, and ultimately you get a Kendrick Lamar type of rapper. I look at that same thing with Lamar Jackson. He's absolutely is phenomenal. He could be an MVP candidate for the next 8 years. That's not far-fetched. But the thing I look back at is the opportunity, Martin. Mm-hmm. He has the proper opportunity. What I mean is, you have a GM formerly, Ozzie Newsome, right, who's just drafting and developing guys, and they has such stability with the Ravens. They had an ethos of what they do. We're going to run the ball. We're going to play hard defense. Then you get a coach in John Harbaugh who, similarly to his brother, can be unconventional, can do things different, and have a way about them. And you get a Lamar Jackson who historically the NFL would say, first of all, historically, they would say he's a black guy. He can't be a quarterback. He's going to have to play another position. That's just facts. And then it became, all right, well, you're not a quarterback. You're a what? What's the word they always use? Athlete. You're not a quarterback. He's an athlete. But John Harbaugh saw in Lamar Jackson, he said, you know what? We're going to change our system to match our star player. And at that time, that seems, wow, look at that. That seems so unconventional. But he said, man, this guy has a special, unique skill set. Let's maximize that. Let's change our offense and our identity to match that. And so, therefore, he has the opportunity to change the game. But I think of guys like Michael Vick. I think of Cam Newton. I think of guys like Randall Cunningham who were doing it, but again, because it was almost seemed like, oh, that's cute, but get back to being a quarterback, as opposed to letting them thrive. And I think Lamar Jackson is, if Josh wants to say he's changed it, I don't like the term change it. I just think he's thriving because he has an opportunity to be him, fully him. In fact, maybe not even enough. They didn't do it enough in the AFC Championship game. And I think that's a great thing. Last point, Lamar Jackson goes to the Tennessee Titans. Maybe they say, that's cute, but we need you to pass more. We need you to be more of a pocket quarterback. Don't run too much. Don't hurt. And I think he's in a perfect position where he has been able to thrive, have success, and now it's making other people go, what is it, a copycat league? They're going, oh, maybe it's okay to run more. Maybe it's okay to have more design runs. Maybe it's okay for us to be run-centric, even including our quarterback.
So I think you were saying something and it triggered in my brain, because while Lamar got the opportunity, and I get what your overarching point is, but there's been plenty of guys to get opportunities and even fail, even from Jamarcus Russell to whoever, right?
Ooh,
well,
you may really fail.
No, well, I'm just saying, like, in terms of being a black quarterback who has opportunity is not all that it is.
Right.
The biggest difference in the way that, if you want to say Lamar Jackson changed the game, it's not in his playing style, right? Mm-hmm. We've seen, like you said, Randall Cunningham before him, Warren Moon before him, Warren Moon, Randall Cunningham, Michael Vick, you name it, and quite honestly, Jaden Daniels after, right? So we've seen this archetype, right? We've seen archetypes of Josh Allen, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Frank Tarkenton.
Yeah. Cam Newton, to me, is very similar in style of play to Josh Allen. Prime Cam Newton, and Josh Allen's a little bit more refined of a thrower. Cam more of a bruising runner. You get the point, though. Generally, big frame out. So the way that the game was changed was because John Harbaugh not only wanted Lamar Jackson to be his quarterback, he then empowered Lamar Jackson to be his quarterback. Think about when Michael Vick was playing for the Atlanta Falcons and how many times you saw like an idea of the read option. I know the read option is recent to the NFL. It is not recent to football.
No.
Okay, it
decades.
is not recent to football. I remember as a child asking my dad, why don't they run the read option in the NFL? And his answer was quarterbacks were too expensive, which I tend to understand.
Right.
But when you got Lamar Jackson or you got Michael Vick or you got Jaden Daniels, that weapon is you can't let that weapon go. That's where the game was changed with Lamar, if it was at all. It's that a guy like John Harbaugh, who was established in Baltimore, but let's be honest, it's because he made some coaching changes and that run for that Super Bowl. It was looking a little bleak. He had to make a quarterback change.
Right.
And he decided to go to Lamar, and when he did, he's empowered him every step of the way. Honestly, not to go too far, because I think it's the right move. If I'm going to make an error, I'm going to go that far, but I think a little bit too far. Look a little bit, John. It's okay. You can hold up to 1 or 2. You don't have to ask Lamar, should we go for 2 every time?
Right.
You can make that decision, John. You can make the decision to kick off or onside, or you can make that decision. But I think he's done a little too much. But that's the difference, because if you have a guy like Kyler Murray, for example, and you're going to tell him we want you to play exactly like Jared Goff does, then you, the head coach, are missing the point.
And that's what the NFL has done to me, Martin, for a long time. The NFL was very not maximizing. They didn't understand. They had guys historically who had 5 tools, right? If you want to go baseball reference. They were like, all right, you have to only be a 3-tool guy. Because if you have the rest of the tools, Martin, you're an athlete. If you have the rest of the we don't know how to utilize you. What are we going to do? And I think what we're seeing now, especially if you even watch college football, this is just what's going to keep coming, Martin. You look at Arch Manning. First time he really gets a crack at it, we run a 60-something yard touchdown run. We already know he can throw, big arm. We already know he's going to be well coached, well studied up. That's the pedigree in which he comes from. And I think the NFL has done a disservice to themselves for all these years, limiting their players, specifically their quarterbacks. Like, man, you have let guys go. You probably had talent come in and you say, oh, well, he's just an athlete, so put him out at receiver. Oh, he's just put him out at DB. Oh, we'll just use him sparingly. As opposed to saying, yo, how great is this guy that he can throw, he can run, he's smart, he's a leader, and I think you're just going to increasingly see Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, who doesn't run all the time but runs when he can, and Jaden Daniels, so on and so forth. I think you're going to see more and more, and this is the thing that's coming, the next layer to a quarterback, a new thing where you can say, oh, it's okay for our guy to have an extra level, an extra layer. He can run, he can pass, he can scramble, he can make decisions. He's still smart. He's still great at the podium. He's still a great leader. And to me, I'm like, duh, where have you been? You could have had this 25, 35 years ago.
It's part of the reason why, as long as Justin Fields continues to play a semblance of we will never see the Russell Wilson Steelers happen.
Wait, stop. I got to stop you there. Make sure y'all send that to Rob Parker. Because you're sitting in his seat right now, and I've been screaming at that for how long, Rob G? To a whole full 2 weeks or so. I keep telling him that.
Listen, there was an odd couple before. I've sat in this chair
and
yelled the same thing.
You know how it goes.
Filling in for Chris Broussard in the past, I'll tell you. But because here's the thing. All right, take it out of college, take it out of the NFL. Let's go to Michigan football, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have 2 quarterbacks. Both of them stink. Mm-hmm. One of them is fast. The other one is not. The one that's fast is the guy who needs to play.
Yeah.
If you have, it just makes no sense otherwise. It makes no sense otherwise, because at least that way, your quarterback gives you another dynamic besides just throwing the ball. He is now an extra player for the defense to defend. Why you think? I mean, even a guy like Daniel Jones can get out there and move around. If Daniel Jones ran a 5.5 40, he would not be in the NFL. Some of his ability to run is what got him drafted, and honestly, I know he's a punching bag. He's played well so far this year, but I know he's a punching bag. But his ability to be able to move outside of the pocket and get positive yards is the reason why the Giants haven't completely washed their hands.
I'm sitting here really trying to think. Who are the big-time quarterbacks who can't move at this point? Because you had those historically. Now, some of them could move within the pocket. Tom Brady ain't an athlete, but he was great at moving and manipulating a pocket. So I'll give you that some guys could do that. But I'm talking about who ain't an athlete at this point. Because even Brock Purdy's sneaky. My Lions saw that last year in the NFC Championship game.
Rob G and I were talking about this pre-show because you have like different kind of styles of guys, right? You have like Kyler Murray, who is the road runner, zipping everywhere.
Like a 3-year-old
right?
who's running around, don't want to put their diaper on. Yep, Rob G, you know about it.
You have the Patrick Mahomes, who is going to run around, buy time, not going to go too far. He doesn't mind running, but he's running to throw the ball. He's looking to throw the ball, and if he does run, he's not fast, but he's got a little bit of wiggle to where he's going to pick up enough. A couple yards, right? Joe Burrow, I think, is a step behind that, right, where he's fast enough. Like, if he takes off and runs, you're not going to be shocked, but you're also not expecting him to run away from anybody, right?
Yep.
But that's where the floor is you're not expecting to run away from anybody. Like Jared Goff, you're not expecting him to run away from anybody, but you're expecting him to, if it's a bootleg and ain't nobody there, you better go get me 4 yards, boy.
Yeah. 100%. And that's why I'm just like, man, NFL, come on. Y'all could have been had this so long ago. You know how many athletes that didn't get an opportunity because they're like, oh, he's just an athlete, or he's just, and if, like I said, if you go back far enough, you're like, oh, it's a black quarterback, I don't know. And now I'm like, man, y'all could have had this. And this ain't even, not even just from the black quarterbacks, period. God forbid they be athletic, and there have been sparingly. Like I said, Steve Young had that. Frank Tarkenton back in his day. There have always been some. John Elway to be another. But to me, this is what's coming. This is the wave. If I'm a college quarterback, if I'm a college football coach right now, I'm looking at high school players. Give me him. You know, the 6'2", fast, can throw, can run. I want that guy, the guy who's going to give me all the tools. It's like, why would I not want LeBron James, who can pass, shoot, score, defend? Why would I not want all of that?
Because Kelvin, he's not
He
clutch.
doesn't fit. He needs to just be a small forward. He needs to just be a center. Like, man, give me that center who can shoot too. I'm not mad at that.